Greetings! Today we take a look at an animated series based on what some have called Satan's Game. I'm not inclined to believe that, but what it was the greatest fantasy adventure role-playing game in the history of mankind. In fact, probably single-handedly responsible for creating a whole new subgenre of gaming. I am of course talking about Dungeons and Dragons, the complete series, now on DVD from BCI's Ink and Paint brand. The folks who brought us He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and a whole bunch of other great shows. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. So before we begin, let's take a look at the opening titles, which will give you the basic premise. And yeah, so here's the opening titles from the first season of Dungeons and Dragons.
Hey, look! A Dungeons and Dragons ride! Wow, neat!
Give me a break.
I don't like this!
Whoa! What's happening?
Oh! Where are we?
Look out!
Fear not, Ranger. Barbarian, magician, thief, cavalier, and acrobat.
Who was that?
That was Venger, the force of evil. I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
So there you go, pretty cool, eh? Who wouldn't love that to happen to them? Riding a roller coaster and suddenly you find yourself in this far-flung fantasy world, struggling to get home, fighting fantasy monsters and everything. Yeah. A lot of hardcore fans of the game weren't particularly pleased with the animated series because they felt it little kidified it too much. And I do apologize for my lip there. Winter chapped lips. Yeah, bleeding. So I'll try not to bleed all over you as I give you the review. And if I keep licking that lip there, I do apologize. Anyway, Dungeons and Dragons. We'll just cover it there. Dungeons and Dragons, the complete animated series. This is, of course, the Region 1 release. It was released in its complete form on Region 2 a few years ago. And the difference is, of course, this set is absolutely loaded with extras and has absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous packaging. So let's take a quick look at the packaging and the contents of the set, and then I'll talk a little more about the show itself and some of the extras and stuff that are in here. All right, let's take a look. Okay, now in terms of packaging, this is without question one of the coolest sets I've ever got. They really made this a set for fans, big time. First off, you have the logo and the general cover design, which is very similar to the way the game books were made back in the day. And then it looks very nice on the spine, and then on the back you've got your standard description. This is actually one of those glued-on sheets, so you can actually remove this if you want. I haven't because it's a nice description. So there you go. So you have Venger and then the picture. I'll show you what that is in a second. And then a big list of extras. There's a ton of extras on this set, okay, which I'll go into in the next part. So inside, one of the first things we have is this, the Animated Series Handbook, done in the style of Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition's game books, which is very cool. It's a nice little hardcover book which covers all different aspects of the show. So if you take a look, it actually gives you stats for all the characters in the show. So if you want to actually run a campaign with characters from the show, you can. Like, how cool is that? That's pretty darn cool, I think. There's Presto and Sheila, Bobby, even got Uni in there. And then they actually have a campaign that you can run using the characters in the book. So you got a map on there and everything, which is quite cool. So this is a really, really nice book. So this campaign occurs around, I believe it leads into the Dragon Graveyard, which is one of the key episodes of the series. And then you've got stats on Venger, which is pretty cool. Shadow Demon, and I think that's it. Yeah. So oddly, they didn't have what's his face? I can't remember the name of the character now. You know, the big multi-headed dragon. This guy. Tiamat. That's who it was. Tiamat. So they didn't have Tiamat in there, but I guess because Tiamat would just be far too ridiculously powerful. Then inside we have the Dungeons and Dragons episode guide. There was, of course, 27 episodes, and this gives you, you know, artwork and a brief summary of each episode and a breakdown of where they are on the discs. And it also gives you info about the recording sessions and or about the about the special features. And this is the some photos from recording one of the special features. Now this is what one of the really cool special features is. There was a final episode scripted but was never produced, which basically detailed how the kids got home. So what they did for this DVD edition, and this is a really cool extra, is they actually got together a couple of the original cast members and then got a new cast for the rest of the characters, and did an audio version of the final episode. So it's like a full cast audio drama with music and sound effects and everything, so you can actually experience the story much as it would have been in the animated series, just of course without any visuals. So I love audio drama, so that's no problem for me. But I was really happy just it's like getting an extra episode, you know. It's great stuff. So here, take the actual case out. This is the original 1983 promotional artwork for the series, which is very cool. So they use that as the cover for the digipacks containing the discs. And then on the corner we got that. See, I love that this is all done in sort of this old school 80s role-playing game style. And then you got a map here of the worlds of the areas that they visit throughout the course of the series. So that's pretty cool. And then inside we got Hank there, and then we got all the others. Not a big fan of the double stacking disc thing, but that's okay. So if we look underneath, it's basically just some of the background artwork that they've oh dear, how do you get this out without destroying it? There we go. Okay, there's a little button there that you press. Okay, so you get some of the background artwork, and I'm not going to bother taking all of them out here because it would be a little much. And then there we go. Oh, okay. There's actually little clips on the side, so you push that to release the discs. So if you don't, you don't want to like rip the discs out, obviously. So do that, and then you got Venger there. So yeah, very cool, and everything fits nicely in the box. I got this for a real steal too. I think I paid like maybe $20 for it, and this retails for about $60 usually. So yeah, poke around a bit and I'm sure you can find a deal on it. So Dungeons & Dragons, the complete animated series. Very nice packaging, definitely with the D&D enthusiast in mind. And even if you don't like the show, you can't deny the fact that that's some pretty cool and pretty faithful packaging. So it's a pretty nice set, as you can see. And I mean, that extra of having the never produced final episode in audio form is really cool too. There's also some interactive features on there. There's a couple of commentaries. There's a documentary about the making of the show. There's a live-action Dungeons and Dragons fan film set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons as presented by the animated series, and all kinds of stuff. So it's absolutely loaded. Like if you look at the back here, the special features list there, you can see there's quite a lot of stuff, and there's DVD-ROM features and all kinds of goodies. So there you go. So yeah, so anyway, there was 27 episodes total, spanning, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons, something like that. I can't remember exactly how many seasons it lasted. God, this, you ever get that where it's like you cut your lip and it just does not stop bleeding? It's so annoying. I've literally been battling with this thing for a couple of hours now, and it's driving me crazy. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean this edition to be so gory. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the cartoon itself was not particularly well received by a lot of the hardcore fans because it was little kidified and such. And I think a lot of people were hoping that when they heard there was a Dungeons and Dragons cartoon coming out, that it was going to be more of a dark fantasy thing and be, I guess, just more gritty, like the games are. Whereas, I mean, you can't deny that the show definitely has a lot of elements of the games in it. I mean, you'll recognize a lot of the monsters in it, of course, and much like when you would play the games, it features a party of characters, each with different abilities and such. So it is faithful to the game, technically speaking, but in a lot of ways. I mean, even Gary Gygax was an executive producer on it. So I mean, Gary Gygax is the guy who created Dungeons and Dragons, so he had a direct hand in it. So it's not like it was done independent of the original creators. It definitely had their involvement, but unfortunately, it met with kind of mixed reviews. Now myself, I used to watch this all the time. I actually really enjoyed the cartoon when it was originally on, and I didn't really play the game very much. Some of my friends were into it, and I played it once in a while, but I actually, when I played role-playing games, I tended to play more sort of free-form ones that had different qualities to them, not so much the number crunching. I find that D&D has a lot of number crunching in it. I tended to play ones that had more free-form gameplay, that focused more on just the adventuring rather than the stats and whatnot. But whatever. If you're a fan of the show, I definitely recommend picking this up because it's a great collection. The only quibble I have is some of the later episodes do have some music changes, and some longtime fans of the show were a little ticked off about that. Apparently there was some question as to who held the rights to certain pieces of music used in the later episodes. So they replaced it with other music. It's still music from the show, but not the same tracks that were used in those particular episodes. Now, interesting side note, I mentioned the Region 2 set. Apparently the Region 2 set does not have any music changes, so if you want to have absolutely everything in its original uncut form, you might want to pick up both. You know, get this, obviously, for all the extras, and to have it in its original NTSC form, but pick up the last couple volumes of the Region 2 set to have those episodes with their original music intact. This was brought up on a message board a little while ago with some of the people who actually were in charge of the release, the Region 1 release, and they said that they were pretty sure that there was some question as to the full legality of the Region 2 releases. They may not have done all that they were supposed to do in order to secure the rights properly, and just kind of snuck it through with a legal loophole or something like that. I don't know. It's all speculation and hearsay, so we don't really know the true story there. But anyway, do I recommend it? Definitely. It is totally worth getting, and if you're a fan of the show. If you're going to go in sight unseen, there are some other versions of this available. There's some single discs which just have a few episodes on them. Basically like Disc 1 and Disc 2, I think, of the set are packaged separately as individual releases. So if you've never seen the show before, but you're a fan of the games and want to sort of taste it first, like try it out and see if you actually like it, and want to justify whether or not you want to get the whole series, you might want to check out the single disc releases. You find them in the $5 bin at Walmart sometimes. Or, just rent a disc or two, see if you like it, and then determine if you want to buy it or not. I'm going to go give myself some first aid by eating some barbecued chicken. Because nothing cures a bleeding lip like barbecued chicken. Alright, so that's it from me to you for now. Dungeons & Dragons, the complete series on DVD. Get it. It's awesome. Unless you hate the show, in which case don't get it, because you probably wouldn't think it was awesome, no matter how many cool extras are there. But, yeah. Anyway, catch you next time, folks. Until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara.